Thank you. Minister Hajdu, you received the Champion of Mental Health Parliamentarian Award for your past work. A study from Dr. Scott Kim showed that women are 2 times more likely than men to request MAID for mental illness alone and to receive it. I'm wondering if your gender-based analysis on Bill C7 includes that alarming statistic. This bill does exclude mental illness as a sole condition for MAID eligibility. And I'm wondering, I know you spoke briefly about this with Senator Gold, but I would like some more information. As the Minister of Health and as a mental health champion, I want you to explain why you believe this exclusion is important. And Minister, I am hoping that you provide a more wholehearted endorsement of that key provision than Justice Minister Lametti did. He said he hoped that the mental illness exclusion was only temporary.
Thank you very much, Senator. And through the chair, I'll just say it was an honor to receive that award. It was a surprise to receive that award. It was the first year that I was elected. But it is certainly a reflection of my previous work, which was in the area of substance use and mental health, and as well homelessness. And so I will say this: I deeply respect the professionals that work within that sector, and they have guided us well in terms of their concerns about the risk of including, at this point in time, provisions for people whose sole condition is mental illness. In fact, their concerns echoed the concerns of, as I mentioned, this dedicated group of medical assistance in dying providers who said that they would be concerned about not having a deeper framework or body of research to be able to determine how to assess the desire to die, in particular with conditions where a symptom is sometimes the desire to die. And so this is an area where I believe we need further research and further study, and that is exactly what will happen through the parliamentary review. In fact, the Council of Canadian Academies also indicated that it was a very challenging space in order for physicians to assess, and I look forward to the ongoing research and the parliamentary review.
Thank you. My second question, Minister Hajdu. Your former cabinet colleagues, Justice Minister Wilson Raybould and Health Minister Philpott, co-wrote a compelling column about the new Bill C7 last February. And in it, they discussed the considerable difference between Bill C14, which they drafted, and the new Bill C7. They state, quote, "There is a qualitative and ethical distinction between hastening a death which is already drawing near and ending a life which is expected to persist. This is no small divide. It is incumbent on lawmakers to consider the implications this may have for clinicians and their willingness to participate in a more expansive framework for assisted dying," quote. Now, of course, Minister Philpott was a physician prior to her political career, and she's now returned to that profession, giving her a unique vantage point on that issue. Minister Hajdu, as the current Minister of Health, do you recognize the difficult ethical position you are putting many physicians in, given the major expansion of medically assisted death in Bill C7?
Actually, I think the strength of, and with all due respect to my former colleagues, the strength of the legislation that we're proposing is actually that it is a choice that physicians choose to provide this service. In fact, the variety of professionals, and I mean variety of fields of practice, of folks that are providing medical assistance to dying was very interesting. We had anesthesiologists, we had general practitioners, we had a variety of different experts that chose to become MAID assessors and MAID providers. But as I said, it is not a volume of physicians. Many physicians that we spoke to, this was a deeply personal choice. They had a high degree of compassion for people who are suffering at the end of their life, and they felt that this was a service that they wanted to be able to provide for those folks. And so I believe, and in fact, I will add this, during those consultations, in fact, they said, many of them, that they were looking forward to being able to help folks who were suffering from irremediable pain, however, not immediately facing death. They found that sometimes the restrictions were very narrow, and they also found it sometimes difficult to draw the line about when a death was reasonably foreseeable or not. And they felt very strongly that that there needed to be changes to the legislation that reflected compassion, especially, for example, with the safeguards that we're proposing to change. And so I am grateful to those practitioners who have been doing this for now 4 years, who have been doing it thoughtfully, compassionately, in circumstances sometimes where they are really the closest person to that person who is suffering. And I thank them for sharing those very personal experiences with us.